Man, fresh out of annual, got all the squawks fixed. It's too bad I can't fly this airplane. Except, let's go! I'm back! Got the letter that I got my medical back, I think on a Thursday.
We are pleased to inform you that after a review of your application, you've been granted an authorization for special issuance of a third-class airman medical certificate.
And by Sunday night, the airplane was annualed. The very first day before it was annualed, I opened the hangar and it was like covered in cobwebs and like super dirty, and it was kind of sad looking. And so I hopped in. Fuel valve is on fullest, circuit breakers are in. Claire, prep! The engine started on the first try, which if you've ever experienced 40s and 50s engines, like, it never starts on the first try. It felt so much like the airplane wanted to fly just as much as I did. And in taxiing it over, my friend was following in his car and he was joking. He was like, I thought you were just gonna take off. Like, you looked so much like you were like, screw the wash ramp, like heading to runway 12. Really thought that I would never fly again. And it didn't hit me until when I like pulled up and was suddenly like very airborne. I was like, I'm back, we're flying. My relationship with aviation has definitely changed in a way that I am not sure I fully anticipated. Aviation has always been my escape from like the real problems in life. And losing it, but then also speaking up on its behalf and weaving it into my professional life in a way that I kind of never wanted to has definitely been interesting, but I don't ever question that it wasn't like the right thing to do. I think what I really want is to just like fly around with my friends and not have to think about how that's being perceived or putting it online. But I also understand that because I've done those things, we have been able to like enact legislative change. I joined PMHC within about a year of its formation, pretty much as soon as I found out about it. I joined before I lost my medical, but once I was already in the process. I wanted to work with PMHC because it's such a grassroots organization. Like, it is an organization of pilots for pilots, and it's all people who have experienced something related to the aeromedical system. Everyone's got kind of a very hands-on knowledge of what's going on. There are so many other incredible organizations that have shown their support, but PMHC is the one that is like taking this legislation to Washington, D.C. and getting it passed. Going to DC to advocate for legislation with the Pilot Mental Health Campaign back in April was like a really eye-opening experience for me, because I think I've always viewed government as a black box of vote every 2 years and the hope for the best. But the reality is actually that you vote for people whose job it is to listen to you, and whether or not you voted for them, you're still their constituents, and this is their job, is to listen to issues that you bring them. A huge help has been because thousands of you contacted your representatives, and when we got to DC, every office we met with knew what the bill was because you guys had called them, and that goes such a long way. Next year, I think that Pilot Mental Health Campaign has a lot more ground to stand on, given that the bill has like passed in the House, and so now we're only going to really be focusing in the Senate. The biggest thing that people at home can do at this point right now that this video is going live is to donate. Passing a bill takes a lot of money, and actually we passed the Mental Health and Aviation Act for like under $300,000, which is unheard of in the political space. Typically, the amount of lobbying dollars that go into every piece of legislation is like in the millions. The Pilot Mental Health Campaign has a goal of raising $75,000 by the end of the year. I think that's super attainable. And if that's what it takes to get this bill through the Senate, that is like two people's aeromedical battle. On the legislation side, me getting my medical back says almost nothing. I think that it's really hard to know how much my video affected that process. Actually, so many people reported me to the FAA again when that video came out that I think my case just got like bumped to the top because of all the hotline reports coming in. It gave my personal case a lot of visibility, but it doesn't change the fact that it still takes years for most pilots to go through that whole appeals process. But here's the thing. No one person enacts this kind of change on their own.
It takes all of us working together and using our voices to make a difference.
The work absolutely cannot just come screeching to a halt just because I have my wings back, because thousands of other pilots are still waiting on air medical reform. That reform won't happen unless all of us come together to fight for it. And that's where you come in. When I posted my video about the FAA back in March, I had no idea what kind of response it was going to receive. I was emotionally prepared for a flood of comments telling me to stay in my lane and go back to building rockets. But instead, something incredible happened. Thousands of you came together to contact your representatives and tell them that you want your pilots to have access to mental health care. And you caused the Pilot Mental Health Campaign's biggest day of fundraising ever. It's because of that pure grassroots advocacy that we were already able to get the Mental Health in Aviation Act not only introduced in the House of Representatives, but also passed unanimously. So I'm here to see what we can accomplish one more time. We're working as hard as we can to get the Mental Health in Aviation Act introduced to the Senate. And getting it passed is going to be a really long and expensive journey. So I've teamed up with the Pilot Mental Health Campaign once again to create this awesome limited edition, super fun line of merch celebrating my own personal return to flight. Each tier comes with more fun rewards. At $25, you'll get this cleared for takeoff sticker. At $50, you get a sticker and a mug. And this is my favorite of the items, by the way, because I really like coffee. And at $100, you'll get all of the previous items plus this tote. And at $500, you'll receive everything and a framed poster of this gorgeous print. But with any donation of any size, you're making a statement that this is change that you believe in. If you want to join us in getting cleared for takeoff, click the link in the description below and check out this limited edition merch run. It'll only be available until Thanksgiving, so get in there while you can. Our estimation is that it'll take $75,000 to push this bill over the finish line and get these new policies implemented by the FAA. So, are you with us?